As you all know, 20 years ago, last Saturday, we had the Loma Prieta earthquake. We've been doing a variety of jobs within the city and county of San Francisco to strengthen the city after that earthquake. This is part of the major water system improvement project we've been working on. That program is a $4.5 billion project. It is doing projects and programs within and outside San Francisco. This is one of the largest projects within the city. Many of you would have been there for the Sunset Reservoir retrofit. This looks very much like that. Underground, major large space where you store water. This is the second largest reservoir in San Francisco. This is the North Basin. There's also the South Basin. This reservoir was built over 100 years ago. It was built in the late 1800s, and it survived the 1906 earthquake and the Loma Prieta earthquake. But we wanted to make sure it was going to be safe for the future and survive future earthquakes also. We are going incredibly well with the WESIP project right now. We're getting great bids. We are working ahead. Our environmental reviews have gone very, very well. And so it's great to be here again for another groundbreaking ceremony to celebrate the progress on this project. One of the other aspects of this project here is that we really are focusing on jobs. Within the entire WESIP program, we're going to be creating over 25,000 jobs in the Bay Area, in the Central Valley, and up in Ptolemy County. This project alone will create over 50 local jobs. We will have 30% very local participation, including 11 people from the city's City Build project that trains local people to work on these kind of positions. It will have 200,000 craft hours going into working on this, and so we're very proud of the fact that this is coming at a great time in terms of hiring people and making sure that we're putting local people to work. This reservoir doesn't seem like it's that high up, but when you're walking in, you probably notice that downtown San Francisco is lower than this. This reservoir is the major connection between Hetch Hetchy, downtown San Francisco, south of Market, the Marina District, and major parts of San Francisco. They are fed by gravity by this reservoir, so it's extraordinarily important that this reservoir stays in place and works well under any circumstances. We have several folks with us today that I will be bringing up. First will be FX Crowley, the Commission President for the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission. And with us today also is Andy Moran, who is one of our commissioners. Mr. Crowley.
Thank you, Ed. On behalf of my fellow commissioners and Andy Moran, who's here today, I had to jot down a few notes as we talked about how impressive this build would be. The significant progress we've made in the last few years to get out our system ready for the earthquake is in part because of the strong partnerships we formed with our contractors and our allies and organized labor. As the General Manager noted, those partnerships aren't just bringing us stronger reservoirs and seismic upgrades. They're all bringing us needed jobs for the San Francisco and the Bay Area communities. Overall, the 86 projects in our water system improvement program are developed from the Central Valley to the South Bay to San Francisco will create over 25,000 jobs. Projects in San Francisco alone will generate an estimated 1.3 million craft hours for building and construction trades workers. So, as we break ground here today, 20 years after the Loma Prieta earthquake, as we just went through, we're making our water system safe and our economy stronger. So with that, thank you, Ed, very much, and thank you for coming out today.
Thank you, Commissioner Crowley. Also with us today is Mike Chambers from S.J. Amoroso, the Operations Manager in California. They have the contract for this work. Steve Ritchie, who's the Assistant General Manager of the PUC for Water. Marlene Kelly, who's the Assistant General Manager of the PUC for Infrastructure. And we also have Bill Tehan standing in the back there. Bill was actually here making this work in the 1989 earthquake, so thank you very much for being here, Bill. Next up is Julie Levante. Julie is in charge of the WESIP program, and she'll be talking about what this project is and how it fits into that larger program.
Thank you, Ed. Good afternoon, everyone. As we've been reflecting over the past week about how far we've come since 1989, I wanted to share with you some of the investments that the San Francisco PUC is making in our water system to make sure that our customers have water following a major earthquake. The University Mound Reservoir is the 7th reservoir to be seismically retrofitted since 1989, and as Ed mentioned, it is a very critical component of our system. The reservoir serves all of downtown San Francisco as well as the entire eastern portion of the city. Since 1989, we have invested over $370 million to seismically retrofit facilities in both the city of San Francisco and our service area in the Bay Area. As a matter of fact, this past week I updated the California Seismic Safety Commission at a public meeting on the progress made on the seismic retrofit of our system. And between now and 2015, we will invest an additional $2.4 billion in seismic projects to retrofit and upgrade some of our facilities, and that includes upgrades to tunnels, pipelines, treatment facilities, and pump stations. Every project, including the retrofit of this reservoir, is designed and built with the purpose of being able to serve a specific amount of water to all our retail and wholesale customers following a major earthquake. In addition to seismically retrofitting our system, we're also adding redundant conduits in key sections of our system to allow us to shut down these sections to perform planned maintenance and to respond to unplanned emergencies. Our seismic readiness efforts also include facilities that will allow us to fabricate our own pipes. We are also stockpiling critical components such as pipes and various fittings all along our system in key locations to allow us to facilitate emergency repairs. And finally, we also have intertie facilities which interconnect our systems with other systems in the Bay Area, and that allows us to transfer water between the various systems. Part of our commitment to the public as part of the Water System Improvement Program is to use the latest technologies and innovative design, as well as involve some of the nation's top seismic experts to ensure that our facilities can withstand a major seismic event. And I think we all know that it's not a matter of if, but when a major earthquake strikes the Bay Area. Every time we complete a project like this one, we are one step closer to making our system seismically reliable. With that, I'd like to invite Commissioner Moran. Oh, actually, I think we have a presentation by our project manager first, correct? To tell you a little bit more about how what we are going to be doing here at the University Mound Reservoir.
Thank you, Julie. This reservoir, although it was built as a reservoir like a lake without a roof, the roof was installed in 1962, and based on the codes of today, it's outdated, and the most efficiency of the reservoir is the roof. In case of major earthquake, this roof will collapse. So all the studies before we approved the program in 2002 was based on retrofitting the roof and all the structural elements which are holding the roof. The components of the seismic retrofit are major moment frames. Moment frames is sort of a fancy word for big, hefty columns integrated with beams, two levels basically, in the middle and up. We have major moment frames in the middle, and then we have cross brace frames all around the segments. We have shear walls and collectors on top of the beam. We will have a structural slab on top of this slab, a reinforced concrete slab, which is right now we don't have it here. And on top of that, then we're going to retrofit the joints on the roof, so these joints can move in case of earthquake. In addition, there are a lot of concrete repair, small repair, concrete repair, and miscellaneous work. These are all seismic. We have non-seismic scope like fencing, roadway, and piping and valves which are coming. And hopefully we can accomplish all this by middle of or before summer of 2011.